Hey, I'm Nate Savage with GuitarFam.com and welcome to the Chord Transition Trainer. Now, I really want you to be successful on guitar, and in order to do that, you need to be good at 4 basic things. You need to have some good timing, you need to be able to strum pretty well with some strumming patterns, you need to be able to make clean chords, and you need to be able to transition between chords very well. Now, the strumming doctor on the Guitar Fam site takes care of the timing and the strumming part of this, so that's why I wanted to make this little kind of mini course that addresses the problem that I see most newer guitar players or people that have been at it for a while who are just frustrated. It addresses the issue of being able to make clean chords and transition between chords. And this is going to be cool because it's a very concise, kind of a shorter course that will get you up and running and enable you to play the easy songs that you want to play as a guitarist. So my recommendation for you would be, if you're watching this on YouTube, go to guitarfam.com, create your complimentary account. That way you can access the full chord transition trainer course and you can go through not only the individual lessons but the practice sessions that come with each lesson, and that way you can download the jam tracks and the calendar that comes with this course as well. And as a matter of fact, it's a really good idea to go download that calendar right now. That way you can kind of put a stake in the ground and say, hey, I'm going to do this for the next 2 to 4 weeks. I'm going to focus on this because it's important to me. It really is kind of the gateway to being able to play the guitar and have fun with it. So go download the calendar, write down your practice schedule for the next 2 to 4 weeks, and really put in at least 20 to 30 minutes, 5 to 6 days a week. If you can do more, that's great. If you need to bust up your practice sessions into multiple times a day, that's really good too. Maybe you can do 15 minutes in the morning and 15 minutes in the evening. But making a priority out of this, saying, hey, I'm going to do this, I'm going to get past this hurdle, is what you need to do. Now, this first video is just kind of an introduction so you can know what to expect throughout this course, and so I can give you some things to watch out for as we progress. The first thing is make sure to just keep your strumming simple throughout this. We're just focusing on your fretting hand, and that leads me to the second tip topic, and that is anytime you can on the guitar, separate out the challenges, especially when you're newer to guitar. If you try to take everything on all at once, like say I'm just going to jump into playing this song when you're brand new to the guitar, it quickly fills up the RAM in your head, and it's just so much to think about, and then you feel like, man, why can't I do this? I have to think about timing, strumming, clean chords, what the next chord in the song is, where the song is going, the feel of the song, all these things, and sometimes that's just too much when you're starting out. So busting things out into their smallest components, like either working on just your timing, working on just a strumming pattern, working on just individual chords, or working on just like 2 chords at a time, that is what's going to enable you to be able to really focus on that one element or one skill. And then once you work on all those things individually, it'll be much easier when you bring them together to play a song. All right, if you're fully invested with me and committed to this, and you've already downloaded the calendar or you're going to go download it, there are basically 5 steps that we're going to use to kind of wash, rinse, repeat throughout this course. And the first 2 are pretty easy, and they're kind of outside. Once you've done them once, you're good to go. The first one is get your guitar set up by a professional. The reason for that is if your guitar is prohibitively and unnecessarily difficult to play, it's going to be way harder than it should be to get these chords down and these chord transitions, and it's not going to be nearly as enjoyable for you too. So make sure to get your guitar set up by a professional, and if there's no professional around you, there are some simple things you can do to set up your guitar for yourself. That information is readily available on YouTube or wherever else. I'll link to some of that for you in the description. Okay, step number 2 is one that's kind of laced throughout the entire course, and that is get some basic chording technique. And this is something we'll re-emphasize over and over again as we go through the chord transitions we'll be working on here. Step number 3 is get to where you can play the individual chords on their own very well, so we can go right to them. If you're having trouble getting to one chord, one finger at a time, that's kind of a step you need to get down first before trying to transition between chords. So we'll go over that. And step 4 is to only work on 2 adjacent chords at a time. So if you have the song that has this string of chords, like 6 chords transitioning between all these different chords, don't try to just jump into the whole transition. Really isolate things and only work on 2 chords at a time. So if the chord progression, the first 2 chords are G and D, only work on going from G to D, and once you feel comfortable with that, then you can add the next 2 chords in. Okay, number 5 is to slowly put things together. And this is kind of an all-encompassing idea of the fact that, you have to work on your timing a little bit. You have to work on your strumming a little bit. You have to work on individual chords. You have to work on your chord transitions a little bit. And then once you've put in all the work with those, then you can start putting things together with a song. And then for this course, we're going to do a song in the style of Knockin' on Heaven's Door by Bob Dylan, just because it's pretty easy. And the chords, there are no bar chords or anything. Our focus is going to be just on open chords for this course too. So your 5 major open chords and then your 3 minor open chords. We're not going to go over all of them. And once you can have this process down for even just 2 open chords, it doesn't matter what chord you use. You can use this kind of process we'll be ironing out here and hammering out for any chord that you're going to learn in the future. So here's the format of this course. There are only going to be 6 lessons after this, but each lesson is also going to have a practice session. So it's a nice, like 5 or 6 minute practice session. So we have something nice and concise. So when you sit down on the guitar, you know exactly what to practice. And once you can do it for those, whatever the practice session happens to be for that lesson, you know you're ready to move on to the next lesson in the course. There are also going to be jam tracks for you for each lesson. That way it's a little bit more fun to play along, and you can kind of test yourself to see if you need to work on your timing a little bit too. And again, if you need help with that, on the guitarfam.com site, you can just go check out the Strumming Doctor. That'll help get you up to speed with your timing and strumming too. I want you to succeed on the guitar. I want you to have fun and not be kind of plagued by these roadblocks that get all guitarists when they're first starting out. So if you have any questions along the way, just email us support@guitarfam.com. And again, if you haven't gone to guitarfam.com to create your complimentary account, go do that. You'll get access to the first module of all of our premium courses for free. All right, I'll see you in the next lesson where we'll start talking about chording technique and making clean chords on their own.